Hello. Oh, there we
Woohoo!
are. Probably give YouTube a second to catch up. One, two, three. Hello, guys. Who else here?
Oh, lots of people here. I see a Paul.
Lots of people. You see Paul.
I
Hi,
see a
Paul.
Paul.
Hi, Paul. How funny. I see a Rosie and Salty and Be Kind. And who else do we have? I have an Awen and I have a me. And, all the important people. We're all here.
Yep, Salty says that we need a nickname for your fans. We really do. Because Paul has the Sofa Squad. I've got Reese's Pieces. Who are your fans going to be?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
We'll have to think of that.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to think about that. But anyway, this is like well, I guess technically it's the second live. I know I probably look like I'm going to the Olympics with these little laurel wreath things going on. I don't know. I think it's cute though. Doo,
I think it looks
doo.
wonderful.
Yep, here we are. So we're going to do a giveaway tonight. I have a fabulous eyeshadow palette. I'm going to show it to you, and you guys are going to say, that looks a little weird because part of it's green. It's going to like disappear on the screen a little bit. But it's absolutely fantabulous. It is by Ace Beauty. What's this one called? Ace Beauty. Ta-da, ta-da. Nostalgia palette. I always forget which way to go with this thing. So all that stuff that you can see through is green. It has some pretty little gladiolas and stuff.
That is a great
And
palette. I have it myself. It's very nice.
I love it. I love it. Whoop, the other way. It's still got the plastic on it, so it's a little shiny. But it's got a really pretty green, which is showing up as clear. But yeah, I'm going to write a number down, and you guys are going to guess. And I'm going to close it out at midnight, so people that are watching the replay can comment in the section down below and pick a number between 1 and 200, and I will pick whoever is closest. It doesn't matter who you are, but it's going to be fabulous.
Paul is suggesting the misdemeanors for
Misdemeanor.
your chat. I love
Oh my
that.
gosh. How about the alternate jurors? Let's be the alternate jurors. Who'll be the alts? Send me
Yeah.
in, coach. I don't know. So, what have you been doing today, Awen?
I've had a day. I
Yeah,
don't know if you want me to start
that's
ranting
a
on that because it
loaded
would be 2 hours. Yep.
Have at it.
Very
Okay,
loaded question.
let's
There's a
start
lot
there.
of stuff going on with the Vallow-Daybell case. Um,
Absolutely.
Someone's come forward with a recorded phone call from Melanie Gibb that is incredibly damning. I'll be doing a video on that in the next day or two. It's
I see.
intense. It's intense, and it has created quite a ripple through this case and everyone
Yeah.
involved in it. So we're going to have to talk about that big time.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think? I mean, what do you think can happen with that?
Um, Knowing that this call is out there, I have heard the phone call. And my
Ooh.
concern is that allegedly, according to the person who posted this, that this phone call has been in the hands of law enforcement for about a year and nothing has come of it. And from what I heard, there is more evidence to charge Melanie Gibb than to charge Chad and Lori. So what the heck is going on?
Whoa.
I don't know what's going on. I have no idea. I have to do some more research and figure out. I mean, did she really turn it over to law enforcement or not? I don't know. But it shook my world. I heard it last night and I did not sleep and I've been dealing with it all day. So it is a big, big problem.
God,
Huge
I want
problem.
to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the post. I mean, obviously, I haven't heard it, but I've seen the post. And if the post is accurate to what's on that tape, all I can say is we were right.
Yep.
We have been right this whole
All
dang
along.
time.
Yeah,
Yep.
and there, if anyone wants to see the post, they're in all the Facebook groups. She's
It's in
posted
all of
everywhere
them.
today. It's in Doomsday, it's in Annie Cushing's group, it's in some other groups, and just go look on Facebook, you'll find it. It's crazy. Absolutely
Oh
crazy.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Melanie, go tell us what your wrist size is, girlfriend. They're gonna get you a set of matching bracelets pretty soon.
Hmm.
Shot,
Yep.
you gonna get back in that jail and be best friends with Lori again.
Yep. And for
Mm,
everything we know about this case, we know this case is crazy. It's 6 shades of insanity. But this
yeah.
call had me shook in a way I haven't felt since we started covering the case. So
When
yeah,
I read
it's
it,
crazy.
I thought, "Oh my god!" And there's no way that's on. That's recorded. There's no way.
Hmm.
So
It
I
is.
can't believe that now. Hearing you say that you've actually heard it.
Hmm.
Is
Yeah.
she sweet Melanie in this one too?
Oh
Like, is she
no. Oh
Bible thumping
no.
sweet Melanie?
Well, she at one point she is, because she starts ministering and reading scripture to the person she was talking to, and you can tell her entire demeanor changed because she's like, "Oh, now I get to proselytize. Now I am Saint Melanie." And her entire voice changes while she's doing that. But then she goes back to that nasty, snarky Melanie that we saw a little bit in the prelim. Remember, she got mad at John
Hmm.
Pryor. She goes right back to that when she's done talking about scripture. So it's, oh, good grief, it's a lot.
Oh my goodness, Melanie, Melanie. They're not gonna. We're gonna call her Felony Melanie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they're doing. You better get you a prison tattoo check. They're gonna like you in there. They are gonna like you in there. Watch her get one that says "Mom."
Her and Lori
I'm
can have
telling you,
scripture battles all day long from their adjoining cells.
sing karaoke and Christmas. I'd love to see Lori Vallow locked up in the same pretty prison as Jodi Arias.
That
They
would be
could
something.
sing. They could have Christmas duets. Absolutely, all day long. They could
Hmm.
probably hawk some white trash Christmas album
Yep,
around Valentine's Day or something crazy.
that would be a thing. So yeah, this is happening, but we're still waiting for the grand jury to find out if they come back with a true bill or
Absolutely.
no bill, and then charges to follow. So we're just on the edge of our seat with this case right now.
That is absolutely crazy to me. But it's nice because people absolutely told us we were crazy for thinking
Yep.
Melanie is anything but naive, sweet, innocent, and brainwashed. And she is
Hmm.
everything but that.
Yep.
She's not sweet. She's not naive. She's conniving, manipulative, you know what,
Hmm.
that has helped clear people from this world that
Yep.
deserve to still be here.
Yep.
And to use it in the name of a church is
And
absolutely.
it's a weird thing for me because this information probably should not be public, but the person is posting it all over Facebook. And I'm like, I bet Rob was going to see that and probably have a heart attack. It's like, this should probably not be public. But since it is, we got to talk about it. We can't put it back in the bag.
Message to Rob Wood: either debunk it or people with pitchforks are going to ask you what you've done with it
Mm-hmm.
since a year.
Right.
People are going to be upset if you were using her to stack up the state's case, and she's just as guilty as the people sitting there, and
Yep.
you ain't done nothing about it.
Yep.
Girl, get
Yeah,
yourself a
it's a
lawyer.
problem. Whatever's going to happen from here, this is going to be a big problem. So we are going to get into it.
Girl, call you Garrett Smith. Get you that lawyer. Get
Maybe
Garrett. Get
not Garrett
Garrett.
Smith.
No, get Garrett.
Oh,
Goodness.
that would be something.
Wouldn't it though? Speaking of lawyers, Barry Morphew got himself a duo of super women
He
out of
did.
Colorado. What are you thinking
I'm
about that?
I'm a little sad about that because I would think that women would be a little bit more particular, and apparently this is a history for them. They tend to represent guys like this more than once, you know. They were
You know
Crystal
what?
Kenny's attorneys, were they not?
They were Crystal Kenny's. Well, one of them was Drew
Mm,
Nelson.
yep.
She's the one that got Crystal Kenny that peach of a deal
Mm,
that we all hated that prosecutor for giving her.
yep.
That was a deal with the devil. She should have sat in that jail right next to him. And
Mhm.
then got out on a technicality. She didn't even serve that time that she was supposed to do. That was
Right.
ridiculous. That made me so mad.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I
I'm
felt
I'm
for Casey's
afraid that
parents.
they might do some magic like that for Barry Morphew, and I don't want to see him get out or get an easy deal, you know?
I tell you
So
though, if I was a dynamic duo that specialized in women whose wives go missing, Colorado's a prime ground to go get you some clients.
that is
Y'all
true.
are in the right place.
Yep. They will not be hurting for clients anytime soon in Colorado.
No, y'all might need some more lawyers in that firm. Yes, thank God Chris Watts didn't grab them up.
Mhm.
No ideas, Chris Watts. No ideas.
Yep.
My goodness. Everything has popped off this week. I keep thinking it's been like 2 or 3 weeks of, but it's really just been packed full for like a week and a half. Like everything kicked off a week and a half ago.
Yep. We started with Amari, and since then, every day there's been one or two new cases just like it.
I know the cases that I haven't put on my channel yet are just as bad. I've got
Mhm.
one right now that's going to be in a video tomorrow because I didn't finish it today because we were talking about this call that you heard. And it's a 17-month-old twin, as a boy and a girl, that a woman left at home with her boyfriend for 2 hours. 45 minutes into her being gone, he says, I was playing Xbox until my Xbox controller batteries died. I watched a movie and then I went and took a shower. And I'm like, you did not watch a movie in 45 minutes. Number one.
Mm.
But went and took a shower. And I'm like, if she was only going to be gone for a couple hours, what do you need to be doing in the shower when you have 17-month-old twins? You
Mm.
don't get showers while you're at home alone with 17-month-old kids.
Right.
You don't get showers, you don't get sleep, and you eat whatever chicken nuggets they leave you laying around. That's about it.
So what did
But
he do to
anyway,
the kids while she was gone?
he says he hears crying, not screaming, just crying, and in the shower. So he gets out and he said the little boy is laying on an air mattress in the floor, and his twin sister is standing over him, and the kid sounds raspy. So he goes next door and he calls 911. And I have an interview with the neighbor who he came and got the phone to call with.
Mhm.
So the ambulance comes, they are doing CPR, rush the kid to the hospital, and already the the people in the ambulance said that he had bruises on his chest and his neck. So they tried to keep him going until they got to the hospital. At the hospital, they declared him dead when he got
Oh
there.
no.
And the ME gets the baby, and they said that he died of blunt force trauma to the chest. That little boy's heart was ripped in half. He hit him so hard.
Oh my goodness.
Your sternum, that little plate, right in the middle of your
Mhm.
chest, was broken.
Mm.
He broke that. He busted that kid's kidney, spleen, something else. I mean, it was pancreas maybe, and I mean, they said that probably the internal bleeding was awful. They said it took him probably 5 minutes to die.
Oh my god.
But what is wrong with people? So he's the only adult at home, so they arrest him at the hospital for child neglect that results in death,
Mhm.
which is a felony. They took him to jail. They let him go on $50,000 bond. And I was like, what do you mean this guy is out on the street, out of jail? But he did. He bonded out. 2 hours later, the ME declared the autopsy cause and manner of death obviously was homicide, blunt force trauma to the chest. And so they charged him with aggravated murder, and they picked him right back up 2 hours later. So it cost
Good.
him $50,000 for that lunch he probably had out,
Yeah.
and that was it.
Well, see, here's one thing, and this may be a very salty sort of take on this, but an air mattress, which means they don't have real beds. He had to use a neighbor's phone. They don't have a phone, but he's playing on a $500 Xbox with Xbox games. Yeah, okay. All right, dude. Where did he get the money for the bond? He had to put up at least $5,000,
I know.
you
I,
know?
I don't get
Mm.
it.
Goodness.
Women, you have got to get, in Melanie's words, some really good discernment because we have got to quit leaving our babies with these men that you do not know.
Yep.
You can't do this garbage. So the best part, number one, the mom is not talking to police, according to the report. The mom doesn't want to talk to the police.
Hmm.
Number two, the best part is when he called 911, he is heard on the dispatch saying, "Why did she leave me up in this house with these kids like this?"
Oh God. Now the other child is okay, and I assume in state
Yeah,
custody.
I'm sure.
I would hope so.
I'm sure.
Goodness.
I mean, can
Oh,
you even? Can you even? I swear, it's just what is wrong with these monsters that think that they can just beat these kids like rag dolls? Like,
yep. Well, let's talk about the Caleb Wisnand case, the other case that you're
oh,
following. That one, watching their interview and your video about their interview, that kind of threw me for a loop because holy cow,
that
you
was a
know.
train wreck.
Mm,
They, I'll go ahead and say it now because it's been released that he does have domestic violence charges in his past. Angela, the mother, she is lucky that they arrested him when they went out the back door of that police station because I think he'd have got her good for
probably. Yep.
running her mouth at that. Like he was not happy with that interview and the fact that she spoke. I
Yep.
mean, it was just, he thought he was in control of that the whole time.
Yep. Watching their interview, you and I watched it together, and it was kind of triggering because
It
to
was
someone who
sad.
hasn't been through it, it looks like, oh, he's being nice, he's holding her. But to someone who's been through a relationship like that, it was triggering because that is all control.
Yep.
It's domination and control, and you better not say anything. I'm holding you, I'm
Mhm.
watching you, don't do it. And it was terrifying to see that, you know?
You know, there's a copy, like the raw copy of that shows them actually coming out of the police station, and then when they actually leave all the way out, he steps in front of her, has her hands behind his back when they walk to the podium thing behind the police chief or whatever, and it's very controlled. Anytime you have a woman and it doesn't look comfortable, like even though their body is together, like he's got her up under his arm, she is not comfortable. It's very boxy. She has her arm over her chest. You can't see it, but like the whole time, that's very a protective kind of stance. It's not good.
Right.
But the way he had hold of her shoulder, it's controlling. It wasn't resting. He had a hold of her shoulder bone because had she tried to move, he could have stopped her.
Yep.
That's what
Yep.
you do to a toddler. You know that you think, oh God, you're going to run out in the middle of the street any minute. This is what you do with your kids
Right.
in the parking lot. That's the only time that it's okay to have your hands on somebody like that.
Right. So they do that interview where they're talking about, oh, the boy is missing. But that wasn't what was really happening because at that time, the police must have been ready to charge him if they arrested him as they left. So what actually happened to the child?
We don't know completely yet. I have not seen any more court documents, and I haven't even seen that he's been arraigned yet.
Hmm.
Um, he was out on bond for methamphetamine and heroin charges. So they picked him up and, revoked his bail or whatever, obviously, when they took him to jail. And they had only charged him with second-degree manslaughter when they first picked him up.
Hmm.
But if you look at the arrest thing, they had that before the press conference even
Right.
started. They knew they were going to arrest him. That press conference was a setup from the get up. They
Right.
wanted them to talk, and they sang like birds.
So did they find
And
the
then,
child?
yeah, yeah,
They found
they
Caleb?
had followed him. Yeah, I mean, he went to a gas station. How many cameras are at a gas station?
Right.
They knew the baby wasn't there,
Hmm.
and the dude gave it away. If you've got any idea where I was, you know who you are. And I'm like, that's not somebody that had a baby stolen. That's not what you
Right.
say. How stupid. I mean, it was just stupid. When was the
Hmm.
last time you saw him? Uh, Friday? Wait, he went missing on Monday? Or Saturday. He said Saturday, not Friday. That was a whole ball of crazy. But they found the little boy on the edge of the county line. He had been buried in the woods.
Oh,
Blunt force
goodness.
trauma to the head, and they charged him with first degree. I think it's aggravated murder. So pretty sure people are already saying death penalty. I could
Yeah.
be wrong. I don't know about Mississippi if they have it. I'm pretty sure they do.
Yeah.
Most southern states have the death penalty still.
Yep. And then another case almost just like it, the Amari Nicholson case. We watched those parents, so to speak, their press conference too.
Ugh.
And it was just as bad. It was different, but it was just as bad. And it's like back to back all of these cases with the parents being like, please, we need our child back, knowing that it's the poor child is already dead. What is going on with the Amari
I
case?
don't, I don't know. When you hear somebody pleading for a missing person, wife, child, whatever, and they use the words, I want them back, you can already bet they're gone. I don't
Yep.
know what it is. It seems to be a weird phrase that's in all of the interviews. All of the pleas, I want them back. I want them back. I want them back. Barry Morphew said it about Suzanne. Chris Watts said it. I mean, everybody said, I want them back.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm. I
Goodness.
don't know. I've not made up my mind about Taylor, the mom. I have not made
Right.
up my mind on her yet. I don't know how much she was in on it. I was kind of thinking maybe you're giving her a hard time, you know? After the first couple of days I made my videos because her body language is completely and her language period is completely weird for a
Right.
mom that's supposed to be frantic about a missing kid. Doesn't match up. And I thought, well, maybe I'm giving her a hard time. Maybe she's just young, doesn't know what to do, and is in a situation, and she's just different. You know, some people are just different.
Yep.
And then
Now
there
I may
was
be
the
like
911 call. Go ahead.
I was gonna say maybe I'm a really, really judgy person, but as far as Taylor goes, she left her son with this guy that she's
Yeah.
only known for a few months, and she planned to be gone for 5 weeks. Right there, that's a huge problem for me, and I don't have a lot of wonderful, warm feelings about her. So that's just me being judgy because I can't believe that. I can't imagine ever having done that. You know?
I can't imagine. I can't imagine. The grandma says that they FaceTimed with Amari the day that she got in Colorado, which was Friday night. And then they did not talk to them any time after that. And they didn't say he was missing until Wednesday. I can't imagine not talking to my kid every day.
Right.
I shared custody with Mike's husband for a very short amount of time until he fell off the face of the earth. But I talked to my kids every day. I didn't want to talk to
Hmm.
him, but I called and talked to my kids to make sure they were okay every day.
Right.
I can't imagine. But they had gotten in a fight, which she said in that interview. She said, we got in a fight on Monday and he did this on Wednesday. And you wanted to say, he who and what did he do?
Right.
Because she never once said that her baby daddy, as she called him, Giorgio, she never said he actually came and kidnapped Amari. So what do you mean by we got in a fight Monday and he did this on Wednesday?
Hmm.
You're talking too much, got you in trouble.
Yep.
But those 911 calls, you would think she was ordering pizza, not telling somebody her baby is missing at 6:30 in the morning.
Right. And a good question
Like
from
she's
chat.
trying to
Was
be
there any
smart.
proof that the grandma was actually sick? That Taylor's mom actually was needing help and was sick at the time, like Taylor's story?
I think so. I think that has been posted that she was in the hospital and all that stuff. She was attacked. Like they've got text messages and stuff. You know,
Okay.
she's supposed to have had more surgery Tuesday. I think another surgery was some kind of weird dog attack that really mangled her up,
Hmm.
and she was expecting Taylor to help her because she has small kids, like elementary school age kids. The mom does, the grandmother
Oh,
does,
huh.
has like an 8 and 11-year-old, I think. She has small kids, so she needed somebody to help take kids to school and cook and all that. And I'm like, geez, that's not who I would be asking to come over here because she's doing it for her own kid.
Mm.
Makes you think she's gonna do it for yours.
That's so strange. I mean, I've raised my kids, and the only people I've ever left them with were my mother or my husband, and my current husband, not
Yep.
my crazy narcissist guy. I can't imagine leaving them with a guy I met a couple months ago and going away for 5 weeks out of state, even. I just cannot imagine doing that. What is wrong in our society that these women are doing this stuff, that they think this is okay? I don't get it.
This this generation, and it's like the generation right below mine. I have younger brothers, and it seems to be their generation. The grandparents, which would be my parents, are raising, the majority of them are raising their grandchildren right now. If
Hmm.
you go look at foster parenting classes, they are full of grandparents that have had to take custody of their grandkids. It's a huge epidemic right now. I
Hmm.
hate to use that word, but that's what they said. My mom had to take custody from my brother of my niece, and she said everybody in the foster parenting classes that they took, they were all grandparents that were taking custody of their grandkids.
Wow.
So something's happened in this generation where we have raised some narcissistic kids. I don't mean like narcissistic personality, but narcissistic kids. There's
Yeah.
something to be said about, those participation trophies, telling them how special they are, and, they can do anything they want and not have any consequences and no responsibility. And it's showing its ugly head right about now because they're adults.
Yeah. And
But,
we're seeing it a
the
lot.
way
We've
to
had a
raise kids
rash of
seems
these
to be like a
cases.
pit. Yeah,
There's too many,
yeah,
way too many. One is too many, of course, but certainly the
yeah.
last week, case after case like this coming out, it's like I can't believe there's another one. Like you were talking about one case, you and I were talking about it, and I thought you were talking about the one we'd already covered. Like, no, this is a brand new one. Same thing. I'm
Oh,
like, I
it's
can't
another one.
believe that. What about the little boy in Dallas? Did you want to talk about him?
Oh my gosh. Like, I haven't done a video on Cash Gardening yet because I think there's a lot of pieces missing.
Mm-hmm.
My immediate reaction is I feel sorry for the mom, the woman who. So if you don't know about it, Cash is also a twin, 4 years old in Dallas. His mom and dad are separated. His mom is a truck driver and has not been in their life for a long time, according to the family. The dad had a warrant out for his arrest because he was arrested. He was busted with some drug things, and they wanted him to go to rehab. They didn't want to put him in jail. They wanted him to go to rehab. So he was going to turn himself in, and they said, "You're going to have to go to jail until a bed opens up at the rehab place." And it spooked him, and he ran. So he left his twins with his girlfriend, his living girlfriend.
Mm.
And that was back in March. So she's had these kids with no contact from him. And she's been taking care of them like they're her own. She set up a bedroom for them. She has four teenage kids. I think the youngest one was 15, and then up. She had teenagers in that house. I mean, if you, the Daily Mail did an interview with her. You talk about a woman that was distraught. You could tell she actually cared for him. She really did love those kids, I think. Now she has a checkered past with drugs, and she admitted it. It wasn't like, oh my God, it came out, and she was like, yeah, well, whatever. She said, I had a problem with drugs, but I got clean. I lost my kids, but then I fought like hell for 4 years to get my kids back. So
Mm.
anyway, apparently the guy that kidnapped Cash out of the house had been to the house 2 days earlier with one of her teenagers. If they went to school together, and it creeped out her daughter and her, and she told him, "Don't come back here anymore," because he was focused in on the twins, like kept looking at them or something weird.
Hmm.
I don't have all the details, but she told him not to come back. And then you catch him on camera coming in, and he stands there. That is the creepiest piece of footage I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He stands there and just stares at the kids. The two twins are in a crib that's been converted to like a toddler bed, and they sleep together. And then all of a sudden, like he probably stands there for 2 or 3 minutes. I don't know. And then he grabs the kid and he goes to this "don't touch me" is what I call the stance. If you've got a kid that you've gotten out of a high chair that's covered in spaghetti, you know the stance. You pick them up under the armpits and you run to the bathtub as fast as you can. That's what he did with the sleeping kid. Held him straight out and ran out of the room. Didn't hug him, cuddle him, cover his mouth, nothing. I wish to God the kid had screamed. I wish he had screamed.
Yeah. Yep.
But he takes him out of the house and stabs him.
Didn't he leave him on the
And
side of
then
the road? They found him like on the sidewalk or something.
they found him in the middle of the road.
The middle of the
They
road.
found
Oh,
him like
great.
he stabbed him, and Cash was still alive and walked out in the middle of the road and died.
Oh God.
So while that happens, he goes back in the house. The guy goes back in the house, allegedly. All this is allegedly. They're innocent until they go to court. Allegedly. Goes back in the house and is on camera again, looking at the other twin. And then he touches him and stands up funny and he giggles. It's the creepiest dang thing ever. He giggles.
Mm,
And then I think he moves and it spooks him and he says something. It's like two short sentences, but I can't make out what it is that he's saying. And he leaves the house. And then a jogger, an early morning jogger, comes across Cash's body and calls it in. And about that time, you see Cash's little brother Carter stand up in the bed and he screams, "Cash!" Because he starts looking for me, wakes up the mom, and then they're all frantic looking for the little boy.
oh God.
And it was so heartbreaking.
Hmm.
But since they're not her kids, obviously CPS stepped in and took Carter.
Right.
Nobody's heard from the dad, and they've reunited him with his mom. Well, I
Oh my
don't know if that's a good
goodness.
thing or not, but they've also taken the woman's two youngest teenagers for some reason,
Hmm.
and I don't know why. So, but in the interview, she's like, "I'm gonna have to fight to get him back again." It's just heartbreaking, you know. It's heartbreaking.
But one of the common denominators in every single one of the cases we've just talked about is drugs.
Oh, I
You
thought you were gonna
know,
say the
that's
other one,
what other one?
CPS.
Oh, that too. But yeah, drugs as being certainly part of all of these cases.
Well,
And when that's an issue, and certainly from the CCT footage, we can tell that her home wasn't exactly up to
it
code
was
for
lived
kids.
in.
Yeah, but
It
the
was
two
lived
little boys should not
in.
be in a crib together. They should have their own beds at that age, and there was no furniture really, and there were just sheets on the windows instead of curtains, and it lends itself to the thought that okay, they're not living in a healthy environment, so maybe that's why they were all
Right.
taken. But that video of the guy standing there over the crib, that gave me chills. I will never forget that
Creepy.
image. Never forget that. That was terrifying.
Mm.
And hi, Hot Scorpio Rouge. How are you doing? It's so good to see you.
Oh my gosh, I haven't talked to you in forever. I hope you're doing okay.
We need to do a
She is
girls' night.
almost as funny as me. I'm so glad that you put me together with her. My gosh, we laughed for like 2.5 hours straight. That was
Yep.
so funny.
Oh,
I love her. I do. I love her.
yep. So, do you want to hit on the CPS thing? Because we had a very interesting conversation about that in my comment thread not too long ago.
I'm going to start out with this. I've had my own problems with CBS. I've dealt with them. If you don't know, my mom started a domestic violence shelter. That's why I talk about domestic violence, and that's why I talk about CPS because we've dealt with it. You know, we've dealt with it. Sometimes they're amazing. I'm not saying anything bad about social workers. It's kind of like teachers. There's good ones and there's bad ones. They don't get paid enough for the amount of work they do. But you have to be held accountable for your work when it involves the community, adults, but especially children. Sometimes it's not the social worker, sometimes it's the administrators and the supervisors that let stuff go. I don't know. But you got to be able to at least have the conversation and admit where there's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you should get rid of CPS. And I don't think it's CPS's fault kids are dead. Obviously, it's the parents or whoever's killing these babies. But they're put into place and they're funded by the state to be the safety net. So when a kid falls through the crack, they get caught. When they don't get caught, you need to be checking your safety net for holes so the next kid doesn't fall. But right
Right.
now, it looks like the hole is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So, what are we going to do about it? Put
Right.
your money where your mouth is. If you want to be a politician or a police chief or whatever and say these kids are half our population and 100% of our future, put your money where your mouth is. If you're requesting a tank for your police department and you're telling me you can't afford to buy body cams for social workers, you need to call in the daggone National Guard. You
Yep.
don't need a tank. You don't need a tank to police a normal community. I'm sorry. You don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not begrudging a police department any money that they need. Give them whatever the heck they need. But if you really want to protect our kids, give them what they need, whether it's a raise, more training, more equipment, more resources, more people. I don't care what you throw at it, money, bodies, I don't care what it is. But you should not be able to come into a house and it be trashed, drugs on the floor, the parents are completely out of their mind, and a baby sitting there in a dirty diaper that's been in there for 5 or 6 hours, and not think, I need to snatch that kid out of here before something goes bad because I don't want to fill out paperwork because I've got too many cases already.
Yep. My issue with CPS is the amount of failures on both sides of the fence. Like Christina just said in chat, her city is trying a new family justice program where they try to support parents before removing the kids first thing. Now, this is my problem. In so many cases, I hear parents having their children removed really for no reason. Okay. But then we also
Right.
hear children that are left in the environment that end up dead. What is going
Right.
on? There seems to be no balance. It seems to be the choice to remove a child or not is largely based on the social worker and their training as opposed to what's really happening in the home. I think we need a greater standardization of laws and rules for what happens
Yep.
because they're failing on both sides of the coin. And it's really distressing when we see case after case after case. All of these kids had CPS involved in their lives and they're all dead. I
Yep.
can't. I can't with
If,
that. There's too many big problems.
if you if you ask CPS what their purpose is, what they're going for. As soon as they take those kids, what is the goal? It's reunification. And that I think that's the wrong goal. Not that I don't want kids to go back to their families. I do think that's important. And I think there's a lot of parents, especially single moms who didn't grow up with brothers and sisters and don't know what a normal family looks like, that need help. And they when they get it, they become amazing. But I don't think saying that reunification is the goal every time is the right approach. It should be whatever is in the best interest for the child,
Mhm.
period. And if that means mom and dad get their parental rights cut, it means mom and dad get their parental rights cut. And when they show up at the hospital to have another baby, you take that one too. You don't let them keep, they're not Pokemon that you're collecting. If you lose one, you have another one.
Right.
And it needs to be across state lines. And you would not believe me. A lot of people don't think that that's true. If you have a CPS case in Tennessee and you move to Kentucky, even if they have agreed to take your kids away and cut your parental rights, and will take another baby if you have one in the state of Tennessee, they won't do that in Kentucky. Kentucky won't have a clue in the world that you have abused your children over the state line.
Right.
That's ridiculous. These states need to work together. They got to work
Mhm.
together. It's
Yep.
crazy. I
I
think they need
think
body cam. I think
they
body
do.
cams are a great idea.
Yep.
It would keep social workers safe and it would document this is what the house looked like, this is what the parents said in the interview, and this is what the kid looks like. And this is, I felt okay leaving them there. And then people will be like, oh, that might not look so good. Go pick that kid back up. Or, yeah, I think it's okay. Let's see what we can do about it from here.
Yep.
But it holds people accountable, you know?
Hmm. I would like to see CPS be seen as more of a resource for parents that are struggling than something every parent fears. You know, if you get a
Yeah.
call from CPS, you're not thinking, "Oh, good, somebody's going to help me." No, you're thinking, "Ah, they're going to come take my kids," and you panic. You know, I've had issues. I had my son has autism, and he has a
Right.
food satiety issue. He doesn't recognize when he's not hungry, and we would order pizza,
Mm-hmm.
and that kid would eat the entire pizza until he threw up, and he would hide it by stiffing the pizza crust down between the couch cushions so we wouldn't know how much he ate, right? And I was
Right.
talking to his teachers to be like, how can we address this? How can I help him learn food satiety and to stop this behavior? And they called CPS to think I was hiding food from him, and he was so hungry he was hoarding it in the couch. And the CPS worker came over, and I'm like, look at him. He is a chunky monkey. This kid is getting plenty to eat. I said, it's the food satiety issue because of his autism. Oh, well, we've seen that before. I'm like, yeah. Why are you
Right.
here? And they left because they're like, obviously nothing's wrong. But getting that call is
It's
terrifying for
ridiculous.
any parent because you think,
There's
oh
two
no,
calls. Yeah, there's two calls that nobody wants to get. One is from CPS and the other one is from the IRS. No good thing is going to come from either one of those phone calls. They are
yep,
not calling you to tell you you hit the lottery or that you were parent of the year. I promise.
yep. But what I would have liked is for the social worker that came here and saw the house and saw everything was fine to say, hey, we can give you some psychological resources to help you deal with this problem for your son. We can help you with a
Yep.
nutrition for him or whatever. There might have been some resource to actually help me deal with teaching him how to be not be hungry. You have to teach them how to recognize that. I don't know how to do that. How do you teach a kid that you're not hungry? You had two pieces of pizza, you're fine. But instead of any resources, it was just accusatory. And I mean, obviously, she's like, well, okay, there's nothing wrong here. Everything's fine. But there was no follow up. No, hey, do you need some help? Do you need a psych eval? Do you need, a therapist or an in home type? What do they call those? I can't even think of it now. Just somebody to come and help him with this issue. And it was just, nope, okay, well, he's obviously okay. Bye. It's like, why do we not have CPS focus more on helping instead of accusing? But then the other times they will take a child for no reason, or they'll leave a child in squalor with drug-addled parents and be like, there's nothing we could do. And the child ends up dead. So both sides of it, that's what bothers me the most is there's no good that comes out of any visit from CPS on either side that I have
Mm.
ever seen. A lot of people say there is, and that could be great if it's true, but I haven't seen it. I want to see them be a help for families in need, a help for children that are struggling and parents that are struggling. And somewhere like if I had an issue, I could call them, be like, hey, I need some help with this. Okay, sure, here's some resources.
They
Instead of
definitely.
a
Yeah.
terrifying organization that you want to avoid at all costs.
And they've gone through this with police officers in the community where they don't want children to be afraid of them. And so what they do is they have events where cops come in uniform
Mm-hmm.
and they get more of a presence in the community when it's not when you called them. They have events and the cop is there. Where they give away the kids' ID thing. I've seen that a lot. Get your picture made with a cop. You can ask them questions. You go to the firehouse and they'll give you a tour. They'll show you the fire truck. It's so kids aren't afraid of
Right.
adults with, big jobs. Why can't we do that with social workers? Why
Mm-hmm.
isn't there a place you can go in your community and say, listen, I need help with this?
Right. And
Make
that's
it
what I
more
did with
open.
that's
Make
what
it
I did with
open.
my son's educators. I figured his teachers, that's the best place to start, right? No,
Right.
that was my mistake. That was a mistake. And I'm like, well, great. Now what do I do? But my son does have a great relationship with the fire department. They were here one day when he got off the bus. They gave him a tour of the fire truck. They all shook his hand. And when he had a medical emergency and we had to call 911, they were the ones who came and helped pick him up because he had dislocated his knee. So he couldn't stand up. So they picked him up and put him on the stretcher. And he was like, wow, thanks, guys. Because he had that good relationship. He was not
Right.
terrified of them. So why can't we do that? Why not?
Yeah.
You know?
But the problem is it's going to get worse. And that's the reason that I talk about it as much as I do. A year ago, I had this conversation with you, I think on Paul's live stream. And I said, when they first shut down, was probably March or April
Yep,
when the
last year.
pandemic hit, and I said, I'm telling you, if they keep people locked down like this, the body count is going to be higher from suicides, drug overdoses, alcoholism, domestic violence, and child abuse than it's going to come from the pandemic. And people thought
Mm-hmm.
I was crazy. And I said, I'm telling you now, if they keep people locked up like this, it's going to be a problem.
Right.
Yeah, and it has been. It has been. And if you think we've seen the tip of the iceberg of crazy this year, you're wrong because there's a ton of kids that never got reported missing, that their parents pulled out of school, or the schools shut down and only did, Zoom learning crap. They
Right.
moved across state lines and never registered their kid at another school. Completely don't have a record of that kid, and they don't even know that that kid is missing.
Right.
The second thing they did that was boneheaded and stupid was they told CPS, the pandemic, y'all can't be going and checking on foster kids, doing in home visits. What is wrong with you?
Yep.
The kids that are in the foster care system are not more likely to be abused. They're the kids that have already been abused. They
Mm-hmm.
are the problem. They're not the target or a possible target. They are the problem. So now you've taken them out of schools, which is one set of mandated reporters. Now you're taking them away from social workers. There's the other mandated reporters. The hospitals and doctors' offices quit taking patients unless it was a daggone emergency. So, how many pediatricians' offices were shut down? That's your third mandated reporter. So, what do you think happened to all these kids? On top of, now you have parents who might not have ever abused their kids before, but are stressed out, broke, stuck in a house with kids, and they don't know how to deal with the stress. Now they're abusing their kids because it's become this perfect storm of absolute craziness
Yep. And
and who pays for it.
it's not just the children. I had the incident with my cousin who his
Yeah,
caretaker died and he was very mentally not well. I called Adult Protective Services to check on him. They refused to do a home visit because of the pandemic, and guess who ended up dead 3 months later?
yep.
And I blame that entirely on
And
COVID.
you
He didn't die
call,
of COVID,
you,
but he died
yeah.
because the worker would not go visit him in his home.
You
So,
called, and any other time, not in a pandemic, they are required by law to check on somebody within 24 hours. They have to do a home visit. They have
mhm.
to look at that your whoever you're reporting within 24 hours. And it just went out the door.
Yeah.
And I'm not, that's not a social worker problem. I guarantee you, if you had given social workers the option, there would have been a ton of them that would have said, but I need to go see the kids. I need to go
Yep.
see my cases. I'm not blaming that on social workers. That's boneheads at the top that are telling you this nonsense that we can't spread COVID around.
Mhm.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
And what really got me the other day was I was trying to find a statistic. Has anybody done a statistic about last year? They haven't yet, but whatever. This news channel, and I want to say it's Chicago. I could be wrong. I'm on that one, but I thought it was Chicago. They had the audacity to print something in the newspaper that said that their communities were thriving. Domestic violence and child abuse had decreased 50% last
Mm.
year.
No, it hasn't.
No, it hasn't. It
Yeah.
has gone unreported. It has gone through the roof.
Mhm.
What in the world kind of organization where a reporter writes that nonsense and somebody said, "Oh yeah, that looks good to go in the newspaper."
Yep.
You
Because
can
the
deny
numbers
that. It's
say that, but
ridiculous.
that's not what's really happening at all.
No, it's not. Oh, it's not. And it's going to get worse because right now, and this is not a political statement, I'm not going to talk about either
Right.
side of it. We have a ton of people coming over the border. Who do you think is going to get those kids? They're coming without parents. They're not staying in any of the, not the camps, what's the word I'm looking, any of the centers, I'll call it that. They're going into foster care. So, if you are one of those people that's like Jessica, you're being way too hard on social workers that are overworked and overpaid and they got too many dang cases. Buckle up, Buttercup. It's coming.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming. They're going to double. And what's going to happen? You're going to have, there's not enough foster parents. I mean, you want to talk about a problem? Get your community and get your churches. If you say that you are one of these churches that does the first thing that the Bible tells you to do is to take care of widows and orphans, you round up the people in your church and you say, we care about kids. We are going to take foster classes. We're going to adopt. And if we are not in a position where we can do any of those things, but we have money and we can give resources for people that want to do that,
Yep.
do it. Get the kids out of the foster care system, adopt them, or sign up for the foster care system. You need some good people that
Mm.
aren't in it for a paycheck. There's things that other people can do. This is not just a social worker problem, but it's coming. I read a
Yep.
thing the other day and I didn't think it was true. There is a state that's offering foster parents 4 times the going rate if they will take in the children that are coming over the border
Oh
over kids
no.
that are already in their community.
Oh no. When you start monetizing it to that degree as an
You're going to
incentive,
get the wrong people.
yes, you
Yeah.
are. Oh, that's awful.
I'm
Hmm.
not saying they're not worth as much as American kids. That's not what I mean. I mean they're putting a monetary price on taking certain children,
Right.
which makes people who have no business taking care of children who are already in risk, not at risk, and being like, oh, hey, you think if CBS isn't putting eyeballs on them? I'm living in Knoxville. My backyard, this man and this woman have been taking in kids for 20 something years. A little boy got out of his cage in their basement and was walking around outside naked and happened to come across a cop. The cop
Mm.
said, where is your house? Followed the little boy back to the house. They had kids in dog cages in the basement. But that wasn't the worst part. They had 2 dead kids buried in the backyard. Well, these people had moved 5 years ago. Guess what? There was a kid in that backyard dead too.
Oh
And
goodness.
they have been collecting money on all the kids, including the dead ones, for 3 years. You're telling me social services has laid eyeballs on them if they're collecting a check? No, that's a problem. You get a check, we need to know the kid's alive and in school and going to the dentist and going to a doctor and being educated. That's ridiculous. More than one kid. They were making like $5,300 a month for dead kids. That's what we're paying. So maybe quit paying for dead kids and then we'll have the money to buy body cameras for actual social workers.
Yep. Yep.
Tell me you don't
Yeah.
have the money for it.
I wanted
Put
to
more
reiterate the
blue
point
houses.
that we're not saying the social workers are wrong. We're
No.
saying the system is broken. We need so much more funding, many more bodies, so much more training, more standardization of rules, because we gotta have that safety net fixed. Because we're
Yep.
failing. We're failing terribly as a society.
Yep. And, there's stuff you can do. Like I said, you go sign up for foster parenting classes or to adopt out of the foster care system. And if you can't afford to do that, or if you're a person who can't do that but has the money, give it to somebody that is willing to do that job.
Right.
Donate so that you can get more kids out of the system in families that are decent, not
Hmm.
that are doing it for a paycheck.
Yep.
It's just sad. It
We
gets
can
me
start
tired.
small, though. We can
Yeah.
start small. Each one of us can pay attention to our kids and our kids' friends. If you
Yep.
have a friend of one of your children who's, is in crisis, step in, offer to help out. Offer to watch them or let them stay with you for a weekend. Make sure that they're getting meals. Make sure they have some clothes. If we all take care of our own little village a little bit better, we can have a big impact. So even if you're not in a position to be a social worker or a foster parent, just help out with the people around you. You have neighbors that probably have kids. Say, hey, I got some extra groceries this week. I don't want them to go bad. Can I drop them off with you? You
Can I
know?
make you a meal? Or just
Yeah.
make it and take it. I mean, good grief. We as women have got the social media BS as is next level. You don't think you post on social media because you want everybody to think you're perfect, which feeds this culture of I can't ask for help. If I'm
Right.
not perfect, I can't ask for help. We've also gotten away from mentors. People in other generations usually had grandmothers, great grandmothers, great aunts, whatever, that circled the wagons and they took care of each other. If you see the Hot Mess Express single mom with 4 kids, instead of saying, "Oh, she got her life together, I ain't going anywhere near that mess," go ask her if you can help her. Ask if you can go to the grocery store for her, or if you can watch the kids while she goes to the grocery store. Offer
Hmm.
to help. You just don't know how big of a deal that is to some people. Sometimes they just are doing the very best they can with what they have, and they just need some help.
Yep,
Or
especially
somebody,
right now with the pandemic. So many families are about to lose their very shirts financially. If you
Mhm.
have 10 extra dollars to whip up a meal for your neighbor with 3 kids that you know that they're struggling, do it. Do whatever you can to help, because if we start at that level, it's only going to get bigger and bigger. We can't wait for the system to get fixed to step in and help, because it's horribly broken at this point. So we have to take it on ourselves and just do what we can. Any little thing, for me, I remember when I was a single mom with my 2 little kids, if someone had showed up with a casserole one night, I would have kissed them, you know?
Well, man,
So,
I'd ask them to move
oh,
in.
yeah.
You volunteer if you come to my house and volunteer to help clean up, honey. You ain't leaving.
Yeah.
I will take a shower. I will take a shower. I'll take a nap. I'll eat lunch. Yeah, you do whatever you want to. They're
Yep.
yours.
Yep.
Offer to help, and if you can't do that, and it's beyond what you can help, call it in.
Hmm.
Call it in, because the guilt that you will have when you see the news crews and the ambulance show up and it's a dead kid that was on your street and you knew
Right.
is unbearable. It's unbearable. I've seen bad things happen to people that came to the domestic violence shelter, and even though we tried everything in the world we could do and offered every resource, they refused it. You still feel like, I did something wrong. You still feel guilty when something bad happens.
Yep.
Just keep your eyeballs open. You know, people just,
Hmm.
if you can't help, just talk to them. Sometimes if just knowing that there's somebody that's willing to listen, or a smiling neighbor or whatever, sometimes that's enough to make you not want to duct tape your kids to the wall.
Yep. Yep.
There's
Definitely.
just so much we can do as a community, and then it's going to have to, change starts, whether people like it or not. Change starts from the bottom and works its way up.
Right.
If you try to change big organizations from the top down, it doesn't start at the White House. There's nothing that
Mhm.
Joe Biden can do to fix CPS tomorrow.
Right.
Nothing, nobody. I'm saying the president now in general.
Yep.
There's nothing that you can do right there. There's nothing your senators can do tomorrow to help CPS. But if you can make a difference in your town, in your community, and in your neighborhood, circle the wagons and make these kids know that their well being is in your best interest, because these kids are the future.
Yep.
If you don't want a bunch of babies hooked on drugs who haven't been parented running around as adults with issues, take care of it now.
Tell you,
It's
I need
not
someone to
fun,
come over and
guys.
babysit this cat for me. He is driving me nuts and trying to eat my microphone.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
There
Hi,
you
Jack.
go.
He doesn't know my camera
Everybody
isn't on.
has three
He's not having his
resources.
moment of fame. Hey,
Uh oh.
silly.
Everybody has three resources: time, talent, and treasure. Whichever one
Mm-hmm.
you have extra of, give it away, because you
Yep.
can't take it with you. You can't take it with you.
That is definitely words of
Tell them.
wisdom.
Yep. I'm going to have to get back on my Know Better, Do Better channel with that one.
Yep.
Oh,
Definitely.
goodness. Like
Yep.
I'm lecturing some unruly teenager. I'm sorry, I yelled at you guys. But I get fired up when it talks about hurt kids. I can't stand to see it. I just can't.
Yep.
You know, just can't.
But that's what we need. We need that energy
Oh,
of being fired up about it so we can affect some change. So,
yeah.
yeah.
And it's something everybody can do, you know.
Mhm.
So let's talk about the giveaway real quick because we're sitting at an hour and I'm not going to take up everybody's Friday night. I'm giving away a fancy eyeshadow palette because that has absolutely zero to do with true crime. Zero. But I like it. So it is the Ace Beauty Nostalgia Palette, and I'm going to try to show it to you. Now, this is a green screen. I know it looks like I'm going to the Olympics with these laurel wreath things, but anyway. So the part that is green is going to look clear, see through, crazy at the moment. Whoop, I always forget which way I'm going with this. So that's the palette. It still has the plastic on it, so there's going to be a little bit of a clear. And that clear one is a really pretty green. Woo, woo, woo. There's a blue too that's kind of see through. Y'all see it? It's shiny and matte and beautiful. There with the plastic. Woo, woo, woo.
What great
So
colors for summer. I love that.
it's beautiful. It looks like a drink on the beach. Oh man, holiday in a palette. So anyway, I dropped the plastic. I have to get that again. So anyway, I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 250 or 200. Okay, you guys type it in the chat. If you are here after this live is over and are watching a replay, leave it in the comments, and I'll give it 24 hours, and then I'll put who the winner is, and I'll contact you. Whoever gets close, I don't care if you go over, but whoever picks my number, I've got it written down. I know what the number is. So it's open to whoever wins. If it's a mod, it's a mod. Um, I can say I have the best mods because they're Awen's mods. Of course, Awen. So y'all know who you are. Oh my goodness. I'm just so happy that I wasn't sick this week and that you guys showed up. I'm super, super, super excited. I want this to be like a weekly thing and I won't harp at you every week. I promise. We'll talk about fun stuff. I have got a box and a half of giveaway stuff that I'm going to do a whole lot with. So I'm going to do a humongous giveaway when I hit 1,000 subscribers. So there's that. If you have a case that you want me to talk about, because people are now telling me you need to go watch so and so's video and tell me what you think about it. Either send it to me on Twitter or put it in my email, or if you're in Awen's Discord, I'm there all the time. You can message me there. But I'm super excited, guys. My channel is getting there. We were almost at 300 when we started this live. I don't know where we're at now, but we're going to get there. The goal is 1,000 soon.
We got
Overnight would be
that.
nice. I mean, y'all can find overnight would be nice, but I just hope to be soon, 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 soon. But I really appreciate that you guys spent your Friday night with me. I'm glad you spent your Friday night with me, Awen.
Yeah, it's been a day. I mean, I need some decompression. I think tomorrow's going to be my self-care day because I've let that go. I have
Ooh,
not practiced good self-care this week, and it's been a week, and
it's been
I've
fun.
had a week of nausea and stomach trouble and stress, and I need a day off. So I think tomorrow's going to be my day off. But we do need to have some other talks, and our good friend Hot Scorpio Rouge was wondering if we could have a girls' night chat, so we can send her a link to the
Oh, yeah.
backstage so we can chat because really
Oh,
want to
yeah.
catch up with her again and everyone else. So yeah,
Yeah.
please join our Discord. Jess, the Discord that I started is not just mine, it's also Jess's. So if you follow her channel, don't be afraid to join us there. It's totally free. You can do voice chat, send files, share images, and chat around the clock. So it's a great place for everyone to hang out and get more information on the cases and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, guys, I'm going to end it so y'all can get back to your families or whatever trash TV is on. I don't know. Watch some other YouTubers. But anyway, bye, guys. Until next time. See you later. Bye.
Bye.